How welcome if I did a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from MMA World, not beyond.
Well, you got to do something like from the MMA world all throughout the MMA world.
Well, how about that? How about that as a feature? Every week you tell me,
Okay.
what it should be.
Because
then
it gives you the sense of the enormity.
Exactly, yes. I'm your host, Lexio, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking, but afraid you get your ass kicked for asking. Collectively, MMA Pancholes.
Pancholes!
Now, Eugene, you're Conor McGregor. You began.
Wait! I'm on the table at the Ibiza. I got never mind. Sorry.
You began 2018 on fire, live and in public, if you will, as a Twitter troll, teasing unnamed contenders for fights that nobody believes will happen.
Yeah.
Does your boisterous brand require an action plan?
Yeah. If I'm Conor McGregor, I don't know. We've all had this person in our life, male or female. I'm sure. It's like as a woman. Yeah, boy, I get you alone. I'm gonna tear your pants up. Yeah, but I'm gonna savage you. You've all got some version of that person, and finally you get sick of hearing it, and you go, all right, that's tonight's the night, and they go, what? Oh, no, I'm not ready tonight. I actually meant maybe you could schedule something. You had a chance, right? So McNuggets, between the table dancing and the Ibiza, slapping Irish mafiosi and dancing on tables in Ibiza with cardboard cutouts of his face on his face. At a certain point, timing is everything, and clearly somebody like him, who's worldwide famous quote of speed and what is it, timing and precision, or speed and precision beat, knows is better than anybody. You're promising to deliver, and if in the end you deliver nothing, you try people's patience. Try that with your dog. Try that trick where you throw the ball and you hide it under your arm, and your dog will like, oh, I see it. You trick me. Oh yeah, and then pretty soon your dog will just start fucking freezing you out, just giving you that old chimp chill out, the Hollywood fade, and he's looking at that because as far as we all know, and we're paid to pay attention to this shit, there's nothing on the docket for McNuggets in 2018. Nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. I could say, if I'm Conor McGregor, that this is a fact-finding mission, and I'm looking to see where the biggest payout is, the biggest money fight, the biggest use. I'm looking to see what the people really want. No need to do that, man. The jungle has spoken. I could pick 3 fights drunk. I could get drunk right now and give you 3 fights that would be fucking money fights in MMA with him, none of which he's ready for. Well, kick some shit Khabib's way. Help Khabib get that rock over the wall of, the deficit of entertainment value, and do it for him, but book the fucking fight. If I'm Conor McGee, I'm hoping that I got my people working on booking me a fight sometime around the June timeframe. That should give me some time to get my head straight, off the table, out of the cardboard cutout, out of Ibiza,
Man, what about you, Nate?
You asking me? You talking to me? Because I don't see anybody else.
This is becoming a feature. I'm actually I'm digging it.
It's one of my bits. Yeah, I mean, like Luke Thomas tweeted the other night. Like, remember how Conor McGregor set the world on fire by talking shit on Twitter and not fighting? Not likely. People like him because he fights. We don't want to hear. There's plenty of drunk Irish idiots tweeting. Yep. We don't need more.
Yep.
So there's not many fighters as gifted and charismatic as Conor McGregor. Let's see him in the cage, not in a boxing ring, not on a Jai court, not playing lacrosse, not playing beach volleyball, fighting in a cage, because that's what he's good at. I don't want to see him trying to break the world squat lift record or whatever. Fight in the cage, McNuggets. And Khabib put a fucking marker down with that fight Saturday night. I mean, and if McGregor's smart, he'll fight Tony Ferguson, the interim champ, to defend his title and postpone the Khabib situation a little ways. Because I think he can handle Ferguson. Khabib, I think he has an excellent the way Khabib was getting hit coming in, Conor has a very excellent shot at beating him. He also has a very excellent shot at getting beat by him if he can't stop the takedown. So that makes a fight. That's what people want to see. People don't like the guy because we've got Donald Trump if we need idiots talking shit on Twitter. We don't need more. Like, even Dana White's out there starting. Today was the first day I'd seen headlines where Dana White was giving him the GSP treatment. I don't think he wants to fight. We'll be fine without him, which is nonsense, whistling past the graveyard. But tells you where Dana White is, which tells you where Conor McGregor is, which is lost in space. Is he Major Tom?
He's not Major Tom, man, and he's not even Event Horizon. I think he's there's some variation of Litz, Lost in the Supermarket, where he's there to be marketed, but we don't know how to market a guy who doesn't want to be marketed, at this point in time. I mean, and the reality of it is, if he's going to lose at any point, now's the time. He faces a loss a number of different ways. If he goes the Nate Diaz way or Nick Diaz way, he could lose. But what he's got in his back pocket is he does Gorgeous George. He comes in a fur fucking coat with people carrying him. It's like, win or lose, buddy, I'm still leaving this cage the richest man that you'll ever fucking meet. So he still got that angle to pimp. Unless he's right now buying time and working on his wrestling in Ibiza. He is right in one regard, like the P. Diddy line, any chick fucker with me, believe me, that's a privilege. Any fighter fucker with him, it's a privilege at this point, but not forever. Not forever. You can wear out your fucking welcome. Now, if you want to ask me smart money style, what's happening in smart money, I'd say that he and the bald one, that the bald one is pushing the fight before the ownership stake. And I would say that McNuggets is getting his name in the press to put pressure on ownership stake. Because after that loss to Khabib or Ferguson or Nick or Nate Diaz or whoever the fuck it might be, there won't be such aggressive talk about ownership stake. And I think that's going to be a fun way to spend your time. $135 million and no $135 million. Ownership stake. And it's not like, what does a bald one have to fucking lose? You couldn't do much worse than he's doing already. And it's not like he's going to be, it's not like Conor McNuggets is looking for a Chuck Liddell-esque job or, well, Chuck Liddell's a friend of Knuckle Up. Let's say a Matt Hughes-esque job, sitting around, picking up the phone. Oh, I thought it rang. No. And moving a stapler from one side of the desk to the other. No, I think McNuggets will actually do something, So,
well, especially if you perk up the agreement so that there's certain requirements, either performance requirements, objectives, or, you have to couch it in a way so that he doesn't just come in and he can sit on his butt and it's like, oh, well, I'm making this amount of money.
I don't think he wants to. I don't think if indeed, we're doing Zapruder on this thing. We're slowing it down and looking into if indeed that's what's happening behind the curtain. If that's what's happening, that he's militating for ownership position, say, I'm still the biggest draw you fucking have. You got it? And he's like, yeah, well, why don't you book a fight so we can rest easy? Book a fight, and then we keep fucking around with the contract. I fight the fight, I lose the fight, and then suddenly my position is not so strong. No, give me ownership stake, and then I'll fight you a little fucking monkey show. Maybe that's what's happening. That would be the smart money move. But the reality of it is, there are not a lot of reasons not to give it to him outside of, well, we don't want to establish a precedent. What precedent? Well, you think Nate Marquardt's going to be able to effectively
they already also gave celebrity shares too. Like, remember, like which celebrity that's connected to Endeavor that doesn't own a slice of the UFC, right? Remember, it was like 36 celebrity investors.
Yeah. And how much those guys are cheaper than fuck too. How much did they put in? What? Like Stanley Tucci put in $200,000 and is feeling fucking virtuous? Really? A lot of those guys that you're patting on the back and glad-handed when you go up to the post-fight presser and hanging out with for drinks later, those guys got paid $7,000 to fight. How the fuck does that feel, man? But in any case, if I'm Conor McGregor, it's a complicated dance that's being done, but just because you have 135 mil doesn't mean that you desire to be fucking chumped. So, in essence, we still have an effective work sick out. You know.
Do you think it's all about the ownership, Nate?
I don't know what exactly the specific things are, but I think fundamentally, I think what we've seen from the UFC, and this is the one thing that goes from Zuffa to Endeavor, is that their number one principle is we are not going to cut the fighters in on the profits here. Like the thing they believe in more than anything else is keeping fighter wages low. And so I think when they're starting to talk about him the way they talk about GSP, that tells you that he's wanting more than they want to give him. I don't know what the specifics of what he wants are, but they don't want to give it to him. And, they're going to cold shoulder him just like they are doing the Diaz brothers. I mean, just wasting time and money and talent. I don't know.
So if you're Conor McGregor, are you getting back in without an ownership opportunity or guarantee?
I'm going to quote Allen Iverson on this. Why would I?
Yeah. What about
Yeah,
you, Nate?
I mean, McGregor's got the money, at least he thinks he does. He doesn't need him. So we could be at a standoff for a long time to come.
And I mean, it's complicated. It's just complicated. I talked about a little bit on Knuckle Up about how I really do think that if you got a board of directors, it's about time that the strong hand come in now, because there are. I would like to say that the bald one is following the Godfather adage of it's not personal, it's business. But I don't have any indication that that's not the case, man. It seems pretty fucking personal to me. It doesn't seem like a winning business stratagem. And unless you know something we don't know, like you got a back pocket full of aggressive, young, Johnny Boney Joni-esque talent coming up, the fuck do you have? What do you have in 2018? What do you have?
Cyborg on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, well, you got Stipe and Ngannou.
Which will do a solid 250,000 buys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then somebody put some statistic up and said, yeah, look at their number one fights over the last bit of time. And the names that came up were Johnny Boney Joni and GSP, so I mean, more frequently than other names. So, and what did you do to those guys? It's hard. It's hard to get a date if you're the guy who slaps people around, I don't know. Don't know, man. I gave an aggressively dark fucking rendering on Knuckle Up, but I haven't seen anything to change my mind. So
it is pure. It's almost like pure fantasy prognostication because of the history of being cheap, lessons not learned, and money on the table. And does Endeavor care? Speaking about Endeavor, whether they care or not, Nate, your Endeavor. What can you learn from Rizin's New Year's show rating success?
Well, I don't know if they're even paying attention to what's going on in Japan. That's I mean, when they owned Pride, when they had their shot, and this isn't Endeavor, this was Zuffa, obviously. When they had their shot in the Japanese market, they refused to make any concessions to the Japanese market. And what we're seeing with Rizin is that MMA can come back in Japan. I mean, it's slowly building, doing great on New Year's Eve. That's their tent pole. They've got the New Year's Eve thing. They've got Fuji TV. They've got Horiguchi, young blood star, a guy who did very well in the UFC. I mean, reminds me of a young Takanori Gomi, who he was in the UFC late in his career, but at one point, he got smoked by BJ Penn. But then BJ left the lightweight division, and Gomi goes on this tear and wins the Pride Lightweight Grand Prix and everything, and clearly established himself for a number of years as the best lightweight in the world. I think in a couple of years, Horiguchi could be the best flyweight in the world, even if if he never meets Mighty Mouse again. And Japanese MMA can come back, behind that. And what they've got is spectacle and drama and excitement and fun. I mean, it was fun. I did the old school thing of staying up late and watching the shit in the middle of the night, and it was fun. It sort of made me feel young again, or youngish. And I think that's what the UFC needs to learn. I think there was a good op-ed on Bloody Elbow, Lewis McKeever, suggesting what that had to do with McGregor is have a one-night tournament. Now, obviously, they won't, and that's crazy talk. But just isn't it fun to think about McGregor, Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov in a one-night tournament? Now, that will get some people talking. That will get some clicks doing. Think outside the box, because the UFC octagon is stale. They've just been doing the same shit forever. They need to mix it up. They need to make the sport fun again. This sport was all about, oh shit, I can't believe that happened. And the UFC was the most conservative corner of that sport. They took over and killed the whole ecosystem. Now at least we're seeing parts of the ecosystem that they couldn't control coming back to life. And so here's the Japanese MMA making a big comeback.
Man, what do you think, Eugene?
Yeah, I mean, what nature abhors a vacuum, you know, and I've been in corporations, publication corporations, and the more effective ones usually have a section of their meetings where somebody comes up and has a wouldn't it be cool moment, you know. And what Nate said there, if that doesn't fucking resonate with you, a night of tournaments, you're fucking crazy. That would be cool, right? I mean, you think that Sean Shelby, also known as Keith, you think that he's sitting around? You think he's sitting around booking fights with an eye toward, oh, this is going to be cool? And, you know, if ever a country needed to turn its lonely eyes to somebody, people used to make fun of Joe Silva, like, oh, he just goes to Keurig's Underground and gets all of his picks from the underground. Whatever, man. At least he had a finger on the pulse of what's cool, but that's not even the whole picture this time, because there's a work-wide sick out. There's absolutely no reason to fight. It's like being the best hooker in a whorehouse. You know, doing a great job means you just get fucked more. I ripped that off from somebody. I just saw that someplace recently, but that's largely the case, man. It's like, it's dire. It is dire. And if you ask me, as stupid as I think the bald one might be, I have to say that there's a possibility, because I'm always going for the non-consensus reality. There's a possibility that this is purposeful. To what end? I don't know. What happens if they can't sell the rights? What happens if Endeavor crashes this fucking car? Does the bald one all of a sudden end up with a deal at Creative Artist, and the Fertittas retaking back the company after $4.2 billion of infusion that they're not going to pay a nickel back on? I don't know. I'm not a finance guy. What do I know? But it just seems, you know, how reckless can you get? You know, I mean, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And if you lose the brain trust and it goes over to fucking Bellator, you know, Scott Coker doesn't even have to use the fire cannons anymore. He's got half your fucking roster. So there are other fights out there. I'm a big fan of KSW. Can't tell what the fuck they're saying half the time, you know, because the wife won't translate. And these Polish guys are big and they bang, man. And, you know, it doesn't seem to be drug tested. So what can I say?
That sounds like a slogan I've ever heard of one. We're big, we bang. No drug testing.
You know, I'm glad to pay them. They can contact me through Berserker Fight Team in Stettin. Yeah. Pavel's my on the ground representative.
Oh man. Well, on this positive, lovely note we're having, I think it's time for the heel turn.
It's pretty easy to name the biggest, most egregious fuck up this weekend in MMA. I mean, Jackson Wink, photographer Mark Aragorn going on Instagram and dissing Cyborg, calling her a man, this dude, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not just that it was offensive. It's not just that it was sexist and homophobic and transphobic and blah, blah, blah. It was also corny as shit.
Yep.
This is the same crap Ronda Rousey was saying 3 years ago, and Joe Rogan and Dana White. Ha, 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 ha. Well, Cyborg's having the last fucking laugh. They had to pay her $500,000 and more probably to fight this weekend. And Holly Holm fought a good fight. And I was actually really impressed with Holly Holm's clinch work. But ultimately, Cyborg was the better technical striker. And caught her coming in again and again, and just has the power to smash that orbital bone. And so, dude, coming out with this corny ass, played out bullshit, give the woman some respect. It's just appalling. And then the non-apology from him and the gym.
As far as I'm concerned, that was the worst. That was the fucking worst, you know?
That was absolutely the worst. It's like, oh, they were saying so many mean things about her on the bus. Well, you know, when you just fought somebody, you're entitled to say some mean things. You're entitled to laugh about a picture of your toe in her eye because you just fought her. I mean, there's some hostile energies there that can be expressed in the proper circumstances and privately with your team on the bus. Hey, that's the deal. It's just like, you know, and if you have a problem, stand up and say something to him. Don't, oh, I'm a keyboard warrior. Are you an MMA coach or are you a fucking keyboard warrior? Like, if you're not a MMA dude, get off the fucking bus. I'm a keyboard warrior. I don't get on the bus with the fighters in the first place. Dude should know his place, and he doesn't. And the whole camp, I mean, their losing streak, everything. It's, you know, I was a big fan of Greg Jackson for years, not so much Winklejohn. Between the losing streak and this nonsense and my hatred of Albuquerque, I'm just like done with these people. Done.
Well, this is where we have a wonderful thing called a segue.
Called what?
A segue.
A segue. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got some. I'm gonna read some. We're doing the Lost Battalion right now, but I want to read something to you, and I'm not gonna say who it's from because you know, because I get all kinds of stuff over the transom, and we haven't even, you know, you want to play that Glass House thing? Okay, JW, let's do it. And we hadn't even touched on the subject of Greg sleeping with Julie Kedzie. Uh-oh! You want to do shit in public? I'm getting texts like this. His, quote, personal assistant, end quote, while she was still an active fighter there, or that he's semi-retired, which, believe it or not, isn't conducive to developing a fight team of over 100 people. Let's see. That was one of the reasons, the guy says that was one of the reasons that Marquardt left, due to its conflict with his heavy religious views. And the thing that pisses him off is when people try to get over on us to think that he can BS and we'll buy it. And in most cases, they're wrong. But in Greg's case, he actually did it. At 2010, at one of his events, there was a large impression that this guy, the guy who's talking to me, was associated with him, that this guy was Yoda, who created this tight-knit family at Jackson MMA, the best strategist in the sport. And slowly, the wise man Yoda costume began to fall off to reveal the wolf that was far more about cash than he was about looking out for the fragile nature of a fighter's career. He was saying family, but he was caught in lie after lie after lie. It didn't matter that Diego Brandao beat up Heather Clark. I'll say allegedly because I don't know. That's not enough to throw him out of the gym, or when he physically threatened Brandon Gibson, who simply admonished him for being late to practice. Nope. Because he was the it guy at the time. He had just won the Ultimate Fighter. We'd have thrown his ass out so fast, but then I'm not all about the dollars. Or how he treated Chris Luttrell, without whom they never would have developed this system in the first place, who just wanted to open a place of his own and be a junior academy to Jackson's. And for that, he was cast out into the street like a drunk who wandered into a gym. This guy goes, I could go on and on, but I won't bore you any further. Doesn't it feel fucking stupid? Doesn't it feel stupid to constantly be surprised that cool guys end up being complete fucking assholes? Doesn't it? I mean, you know, some guy gave me some shit in the comments on Knuckle Up about go so long, you pompous ass. I said, yeah, see you next Sunday, prick. But at least there are absolutely no surprises with me. The guy I am now is the guy that you'd find on a bar stool or the guy at your house. It's the same guy, right? So Jackson, Wink, oh, come to breathe it down. And they haven't won a goddamn fight forever. Lost Battalion, baby. The whole fucking kit and caboodle. They better pray that unsubstantiated rumor I got about Johnny Bonigioni being acquitted on all charges, they better pray that shit is fucking true, because they got, like 2018, they got nothing. bombed out and depleted for the remainder of the year. Because who, where, who, how, what? There's a marked difference between them and the winningest team in MMA, aka, Josh Koscheck wishes that Javier Mendez would die in a fire. He's been on record as having said that, but Javier Mendez has kept together a team and a family for a lot longer than a lot of these other teams. You haven't had the fractiousness of a alpha fail or alpha male. You haven't had the drama and why? It's not like Albuquerque is more expensive a place to live than Silicon Valley. Javier is doing something right. These other cats are doing something wrong. And it's not just about getting the raw end of the stick. You think that you would see anybody connected to AKA popping off like with stupid shit like that? No, you wouldn't.
And then getting defended by AKA.
Yeah, never. With that lame ass. God damn it. That was Kobe Crappington-esque. So
yeah. I'm sorry you got your feels hurt when I called you a cow. I mean, it was like
yeah, and believe me, Kobe Crappington, since his name has popped up on Twitter, is like the Donald Trump of MMA. More present in Twitter than he is present anywhere else. And of course, nobody wants to fight you, bro. Who are you? Who the fuck is that guy? So anyway,
he's the biggest news star in the UFC. I keep telling you.
Well, you know what? I mean, this is the thing. If your successes if they're extra fight successes, meaning outside of the fight arena, people don't care. I mean, Conor, if you look at his record compared to some of the guys that we grew up loving, it's crazily deficient. But he had some bright, shining moments. There's been some disconnect. There's been some sort of incredible disconnect. Now, in terms of the rounding out the field here in the Lost Battalion, since we did just have a big fight, I think it sort of goes with. I don't think we can really put somebody like Edson Barbosa there because he's still kind of a gamer and he knows exactly where he is now. He's not thinking that he's not making that sign around his waist like I'm gonna have a belt here anytime soon. That's not going to happen. But DeCasey was a very disappointing turnout. He lost to Dan Hooker. What? Dan Hooker? Who? Dan Hooker? Who? Yeah, exactly. And there were a couple of other my picks that night. Even though I didn't get to do don't care this week on account of being in New York and all. I didn't do so well in the pick. I got as usual as I got up higher on the card, I did better. But lower on the card, I didn't do quite as well. But pretty much everybody I have consigned every pick that I picked that lost. Who's the guy who lost to fucking Neil Magny? Neil Magny, a gift of all gicks. Who, I'm sorry, refresh my name. I banished him so thoroughly to the cornfield.
Carlos, yeah, the natural born
Condit.
bank teller?
Runner.
Condit. Yeah, Condit. I don't know that he said anything post-fight presser. I didn't see anything that he said anything post-fight presser to indicate that he is firmly ensconced there. But much like Bill Mummy in the Twilight Zone, I put him into the misty wood pile where he could just rot out the remainder of his career because I didn't need to see it. It's like I said, they play it. They have music where they play you in. I really wish they would have theme music playing the losers out, and then they could like cue the clown music like because that pre-fight package, he was like, I'm a sniper. I'm a No, you're not. No, you're not.
He used to be.
You used to be. You're just a guy. Ring rust. I'm a ring rust, man. Okay. All right, my friend. Thanks for ruining my night of picks. Man. I know I'm not supposed to use a Lost Battalion. It's not supposed to be a punitive measure, but
Stay petty, Eugene. Stay petty.
Yeah.
That's one of your core brand values.
Did I say today? I haven't mentioned today that I've turned over a new leaf. I announced this at jiu-jitsu this morning, and they all laughed at me. And I said, "Nah, man, I'm a new guy. 2018, I'm gonna change my ways. It's like that great scene from 12 Chairs where Dom DeLuise is walking along the road and he goes, "Foolish man that I am, I should not weep, but should instead count my blessings." Count my blessings. Like I'm gonna die because they say if somebody dumps you and they were to do an autopsy on your body and do an autopsy on the body of a guy who got hit by a car, they wouldn't be able to tell the bodies apart because the levels of cortisol in your and inside your body are just like you got hit by a fucking car. Here I am this morning, 6:30, going to jiu-jitsu. I'm grousing about how miserable I am because I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm like, and I was like, man, I'm going to kill myself. I got to be more positive. I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to be like Andrew WK. That's going to be my fucking watchwords for 2018. Mr. Positivity. And fuck anybody who says anything else.
Well, thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at EUGENE'S Robinson, Alexio Kid Nate, Facebook MMA Pancholes. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Thumbs up, and henceforth, Knuckle Up will be on patreon.com/thestomper. The Stomper.
That's right.
For God's sake, don't just type in stomping. You're going to get a horrible bunch of shit comes up. So
leave comments on YouTube, subscribe to OmniNation.com and YouTube OmniNation on visit iTunes, visit Bloody Elbow, buy Oxbow's Thin and Black Duke, where fine music is sold. And immediately follow the show, Eugene, what do you need to do?
Yeah, okay. So now you know, like when you go from Fox Sports, from Fight Pass to Fox Sports 1, or from Fox Sports 1 to pay-per-view, this is when you go to If the Shoes Fit. That's if you have interest in us doing this show about non-MMA related topics. Right below, there's a link. It takes 3 minutes for us to log out and log back in. Be there. Right below, there's a link.
That's right. Join us for If the Shoes Fit. And as far as this show goes, join us next week. We don't know what we're going to be talking about because pure mistakes have yet to be made.